Howdy, howdy, howdy. It's me again. This time we are actually going to do a little bit of interesting stuff with Soul Blazer. We have a modified version of the game to run out of bounds. I really don't know what all that entails, so I will let DentedRazor explain that a little bit in a second here. Following up after that, we'll also be having an illusion of Gaia. I believe it's any percent no wrong warp, and that will be most of our show today. A little bit of Quint 10 fun. I know you guys like it, love it, have some more of it. So I'm going to turn it over to DentedRazor, and we can get this run started as soon as you are ready.
Sure, just a quick thing I'll say beforehand. This is basically just a modified hack of Soul Blazer I made that just applies a Game Genie cheat to it just to let you walk through walls. And since the developers used, boundaries to really gate your progress through, when you can walk through the walls, it really makes things very, very fascinating. So if you've seen this run before, it's going to probably, you'll see some really neat new things. So should be fun. But I am ready whenever anyone else is.
Would you like me to count you in, or do you want to count in?
I can give a quick countdown. We'll go down from 3. So 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, that's okay. That'll be still fine as a time. So it's such a short one there. So first off, I'm going to get the same sword in the game, but now you'll see we're walking through things. So technically I could skip this first layer, but I want to get it because it gives me the Magician Soul. And spells in this game, the way they work is they ignore all damage when they damage enemies, so they're going to do the best damage, and that really makes it a lot faster for me. So
yeah, from what I've noticed with the randomizers, magic is just extremely busted in this game.
Oh yeah. Looking at the equations, pretty much, or the code, it's pretty much everything else says, yeah, we'll take into account the enemy's defense, but magic, no, we're just going to take away the hit points. So first part here, I'm going to equip the magic and pre-equip us thing. Then just going to walk through all this stuff. We don't have to get to that first NPC. And then we can just walk over here and go here as well, and walk past that fence we normally have to unlock. We do have to get this layer here to release an NPC that will let us get to one of the main characters in this game that gives us a MacGuffin, one of the 6 stones that lets us get into the final area of the game. Anyone who hasn't played this game, the big part of it is King made a bad decision, everyone went away, so we need to revive the world and right his wrongs. So, well, since we did that, now we're going to go back.
Yeah, I love how the design choice is to show you that layer that it has, and it's like, yeah, I'll get to it. I'll get to it real quick.
And now we're going to fight the first boss. So, and since we can kind of walk on the sides, it does kind of give us a little bit of a different strategy here. You got to be very careful. If I move upward, if I'm on the sides, I'm going to zip right up into the boss, and we'll have a very short run. So
is that a one-hit situation, or?
That's 2 hits, but still, not careful. I don't think you have a lot of iframes, like 32, so half a second. If you're there for a full second, you're gone. So
yeah, your HP kind of disappears in a snap with this game.
Yep. So gonna continue to walk through everything, just with not caring. Just get to those layers we don't have to unlock, and then get right to here, and just go right through this wall as well, and then talk to the village chief.
I love how the roof disappeared because you spent 1 tile on the floor.
Yeah. If I didn't have to do that, maybe I'd look into that part a little bit. Maybe there might be a different way you can approach it to do that. But
I mean,
keep that.
I guess you'd have to trace the outside of the house and then walk into the stairs from the top. Like, it'd probably end up being slower than watching the transition.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough compromise you have to do. Normally I would skip this one conversation, but I'm going to just go through this one just because it only costs you about 8 or 9 seconds, but it's easy for me to forget. So just go through this conversation right now. All right, now we're on to the next world. So 3-minute area 1. Normally that would take a lot longer.
Just the
But
casual
as you can
3
tell,
minutes.
I don't need to revive. I don't need to release the specific spots that show layers. And we're walking across all the water right now because we're that awesome. And we're going to go down some stairways that don't quite exist yet, but that's fine. And we're going to get some gems to help us out through the rest of the game, since magic is very, very helpful. But also we're going to see a little bit of that walk through walls, how it kind of affects other things as well, because it does make spells or other things do some funny stuff. So like that, it just stays there. Oh, there's the fireball, just staying right there. And wanted to get Light Arrow because it is regarded as one of the best spells in the game for a pretty good reason. It does 10 hit points per hit, and it goes 4 directions, so it's very, very powerful to use.
So it tickles me that, like, walking over the lava, no damage. The lava heated floor, that does damage, though.
Yep. So I am equipping, getting that Light Arrow re-equipped. I got to be careful with menuing, because if I menu while I'm walking, I can misalign myself. And also in this room, if I walk straight forward too much, I can actually walk into that first boss, and that'll be a really fast run. So the walk through walls also applies to the bosses, so we have this kind of fun little
unfortunate.
back and forth.
Stop cheating! I know I'm cheating, but you can't cheat.
Oh. So we saved that one there. That could have been close, but we're okay. Got some backup strats just in case if we have to collect gems again. The biggest consequence for the deaths on this would be gems. I want to keep as many as I can. So
yeah, your HP just disappears in this game. I didn't even notice you got hit until you mentioned it. I looked over and see 2.
Yeah, normally it'd be like probably around level 5 or 6 around this point, or a bit higher. I've been playing this too long, so
like a casual.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. So that was a nice World 1. Thankfully, you can use a little bit of the stuff you can see as landmarks to kind of know where to go. But we'll talk to the Guardian of the Wood, who gets to roll over nothing because we didn't revive anything else in this world. So sorry for the loneliness, buddy. On Area 3.
I'm trying to save the world. I don't have enough time to fix your problems.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta be fast. Now this is where things kind of start to go a little bit. I'm going to have a lot of level ups here, or at least a few. And I gotta be very careful. Enemies can defeat me very quickly if I'm not careful. Go. And anyone who's ran any percent on this can attest to how useful they are against those clams, because normally those have so much defense. It takes probably about a couple seconds to defeat, but with magic you can just take them out very quick. And part of this route right now is I want to get the bubble armor. It will allow me to get the power bracelet, which is very important for this run, as it allows me to do 2 damage to a boss versus the normal 1 damage per hit. Normally in this game, if you're using a sword, once the defense is factored into the damage calculation, then it just, okay, if it's less than 0, we'll have it at least be a 1. So you'll always do 1 hit point to a boss. But then after that, then it says, okay, now let's factor in the power bracelet. So then it lets us do 2 damage. Very important to have there.
Does that apply to swings, or does it apply to the poke as well?
Applies to the poke as well.
Okay.
Normally, poke just only does your damage, but if you swing, it also applies your character's base spell.
Interesting. I guess it's a shame that you don't have enough HP to just force this out and then take death.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the gems are the biggest issue, huh? Here would make it take way longer to refill on gems.
Yeah. Fortunately, there's some spots that kind of are fine without it. Here's a third boss. Thankfully, I can use magic against the hands of the boss. You see what I mean here.
He's just walking back through everything.
So that's a good fight.
I knew this was going to be funny, but it's too much. It's too much.
Just hold your sword just right on the back of the skull, and then you win.
So my brain is like, yeah, I wish casually.
This is a very difficult fight, though. If I took one hit, I think I would have been instant death, since I'm only level 4 right now. So
yeah, luckily, like a lot of these bosses are obviously the devs intended and expected you to only ever be able to hit from the front. So
yeah,
a lot of them, if you can get behind them and actually deal damage, you're more or less safe. It looks like.
There's the Queen of the Mermaids. Trust me, she's there, but you're just not seeing her right now. We can just walk right through that front wall.
Yeah, I was going to talk about like doing everything blind in the room without the lamp, but I think we have our makeup amount of blind movement here. It's like we're just not triggering the area so you can see everything. So we're just doing a lot of this blind from route memorization, which is really interesting, honestly.
Yeah. The cool thing with this as well is we're going to see a little bit of zips. If like this here, let me see. There we go.
Ooh,
gotta be a little careful there, but those are normally ice that's kind of a hill that would push you downward. If you move upwards against it and it's not revived, then it's going to basically force your position all the way to the top. So now we got some gems. Get the safety herb there a little bit, and then magic armor, which I want the magic armor because that halves all costs of my magic. So makes it so all the light arrows that normally cost 8 gems, now they cost 4 gems. But not equipping it yet because I'm going to get one more item just to save myself a menu.
Yeah, I do appreciate that the route like sometimes respects boundaries, but most of the time it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just a little. Hold on, guys. You're gonna think I'm in bounds, and then next thing you know, you're walking out of bounds again.
Funny thing, that bat, sometimes they can fly through the walls, but sometimes they can't. So, poor things. So now I'll equip the Lucky Blade. Normally you need that because it's part of the progression requires it, but here we just want it just to give ourselves more gems. So, just be a little careful here because my health is a little low than I'd like it to be. So, there we go. And we'll release who I like to call Prison Grandpa in the rando. We need him because that's where the next NPC is going to be. By the way, Sid, I'm sorry, we're going to be skipping the boss of this area.
I was pre-warned, but I'm still not ready for it.
It's actually something that I learned from the rando in a way, since in the randomizer, normally you would have to revive the king, because then the king who's gated by the boss, because the king would open up the bars to that cell that NPC is in. Well, we don't need to open up those bars, so we can just talk to that NPC and just go from there. So if anyone who's a fan of Poseidon, the Area 4 boss, sorry.
It was pretty funny when you used to do it, because you would like take the warp right next to the boss and then just walk into the ocean and stab him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
That's like the only boss that I'd seen, so I guess I don't know anything about the run anymore.
I did take an accidental death there, but that's okay. It doesn't cost us too much time at this point. I'll be able to get other gems. So
I was gonna say it's really kind of funny grabbing the gems from the chest, because like casually you're just like, oh boy, more gems.
We've actually been finding for the any percent, some of them are very, very helpful just because of how RNG can be in this game. But
yeah,
normally if you're playing it, it's like, yeah, I already have 1,000 gems. This is kind of a drop.
yeah. Honestly, like, unless you're playing, usually it's only the bosses that wipe you out casually, as long as you're not playing too fast and lose.
Sure.
So it's
I do have to
very
get.
uncommon. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, I did have to pick up that sword. That's the Zantetsu sword that will cut through the boss, any metal enemies, and I think he's the only metal enemy we need to worry about. But still,
Good.
gotta make
Glad
sure
they
we get
shortened the Zantetsu to like, all right, yeah, I can't possibly mispronounce this. Screw off.
Yeah. So I am gonna use kind of a strat that I learned a little bit from Mr. Freak, who you'll be seeing later on, but also using a safety strat we can't use because normally we can't walk through walls.
If people need me. Oops.
I'm gonna use a shortcut just to get there a little faster. So
I had too much fun. Threw your focus off.
No, you're good. So show it again here.
This is a treat, honestly.
Okay, yep, go away. All right, we got those. And then we'll use a little bit of low percent just to make sure. Once those fireballs are off the screen, they really don't do much anymore.
Despawn them. Yeah, good call. Yeah, I mean, that just shows how fast your HP can go, even with the upgraded armor and everything.
Oh, yeah.
You're supposed to be like mid. I want to say you're closer to the 20s about this point. You should have about 3 times as much life, at least in a casual playthrough.
Yeah, you should be around. I think 17 or 18, because usually the Z sword, as we like to call it, you have to be a level 16 to swing it. Normally, if you can't swing a sword, you can just hold it out to poke with it. So.
The level requirements are a really interesting part of this game that kind of like make sure that they keep you within the right range of balance.
Yeah, the closest I've seen has been the game Willow for Nintendo, where you can swing the sword really slow if you're kind of but as you get higher in level, then you can swing it faster. So it's like, oh, that's kind of a neat detail they decided to put in on that one. I'm going to switch back to the Lucky Blade and Magic Armor. And we'll have to take a slight detour in the next spot for safety, but we'll still be fine. It'll get us plenty of gems that we need. Take a nice shortcut there.
Honestly, like outside of the weapons like needed to kill certain enemies, I didn't even really realize most of the equipment had other abilities. It's interesting to learn.
Yeah, they did quite a bit with this game in terms of kind of making them at least feel more interesting, rather like, oh, this is fire. Well, what does it do? Well, it just gives you 2 more attack. Well, that's
the stat stick, and this is not that kind of game. Elixirs were too good to use, and I couldn't be bothered to read anything.
Yeah. And you can see how level.
Go ahead. I was going to say, you got to appreciate how the spears can hurt you, but not the enemy.
Yeah. That's such good technology that they had, so I appreciate that a little bit, I guess.
Teflon-coated spears or enemy-proof spears.
Yeah. Nice thing with being so low level, though, right now, we're getting a lot of experience. But it's going to give us levels very quick, but we're going to go into an invisible tower right here. So, here we go.
Must have taken you a while to memorize the perfect lines to get straight into the teleporters without having to wander around.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of practice, and then I died, so...
Well... Oops. Yep, we're a little bit out of our depth, for sure.
Now we'll be okay here, so... A little bit of math in my head on this. Okay, yeah. So, just gotta be a little bit careful. You'll see me probably take out enemies a little bit slower at one part, but that's okay.
It's quite literally, there's no rush. I just would like to showcase this so you don't have to worry about going fast. Any of the deaths. If anything, it shows how ridiculously difficult this actually is.
Yeah. does make me thankful for this. Oh yeah, I can't step into the fire. That was what was hurting me. That's when I found out that fire, those little torches can hurt you in this.
Huh.
They gave it
That's
strength. Okay.
So the lava
Yeah.
didn't do damage, but the little fires do?
Yeah.
What? Wait a minute. Oh, come on.
Yeah, they did so good with those.
It's like they got later in designing the game, they're like, what if they can walk through walls? Make the fire do damage. That'll solve it.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna do this here just to give myself a little bit more experience, but this will help me quite a bit here. There we go.
The funny part is there's actually like invisible walls in this segment, so like this looks somewhat vanilla if you haven't played the game in a while. You're like, oh yeah, there are invisible walls here. Meanwhile, they're all invisible walkways. There are no walls.
There we go. Yeah. So this is going to be a lot of level ups here, thankfully. Okay, we are almost there on this part. There we go.
Even
All right.
the extra levels of armor, everything just takes so much.
Oh yeah. Normally in this game, I think it's if you get every odd level that you get to, you get a defense, and every even level you get an offense added on. And they're still just like there's another one offense or another one defense. So the armor makes a huge impact.
I guess from a casual perspective, the only thing you see going up is the HP value, so that was always my assumption. That was all
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of see it there too, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Neat little menu they have. It's cool that they use the sword and the shield icons for that. And I'll go back out here. And we are going to do things slightly out of order for the next recommendation by the Hulk. When I was showing this to him a little bit, he had this, which adds a few seconds, but also makes the next part a little bit more survivable. So it's pretty good to do.
Interesting.
And everyone's favorite conversation. So we got to here.
The entire edge of the map is just a warp, or activates the next room. Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's no reason to put it on a tile. Just put it on the whole line and call it a day.
Yeah. I am
like
intending.
This is your run.
No, you're good. I am intending to get this pack to be more. I think I'm either going to put it on the. I'm thinking of creating a extended categories page for Soul Blazer, but we'll see. Still, kind of for runs like this, or if anyone else wants to play with some other things. But I'll probably put a patch on that one for others.
For somebody that has like short amount of time but wants to like less of a time commitment, I could see this being a kind of a fun category. It definitely would teach you to respect some of the enemies a little bit more carefully with them.
Yeah.
Although the walking off screen to avoid the fireballs might screw up your boss memory. Wait, no, yeah. I can't.
Well, thankfully, at that part, when you're playing the normal any percent, I think you can take 4 hits from that boss. On this one, you can take 1, and then after that, no more. So I got a little bit of safety, but I still need to equip this to go further. And like the other one, you can go there backwards if you want. See if you're flying with your butt. So.
I bet this is. Too bad this isn't one of the games where like the back sprite looks like the front sprite. Like, it's making me the first party member from Mystic Quest.
Oh.
Mystic Quest has some interesting sprites where like the back of the character, especially Ruben, looks like the front.
Yeah. No, here you can actually walk off to try to beat this with one cycle. Oh, that worked pretty good.
Try. Sure, yeah, try. Whatever you say, boss. I love that once you walk off the ship tile, the air turns off.
And now time to walk through this because it's faster with the little tab there. So
I almost wonder if it'd be walk off the ship to get rid of the air current and then come back in. I guess the zips probably balance it out better. It remembers the position too. What?
Oh yeah. We haven't revived the king yet, so the music's still like this, but now I need to get the invulnerable bracelet, which thankfully you just walk straight down from the left of that and then go into here.
Another power is like plus strength, and then there's a defense to increase your defense. Super is invulnerable bracelet. What does exactly that do?
That one doubles your strength and your defense.
Okay, so that's the super bracelet that I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically the power bracelet and the shield bracelet combined. Now I am going to re-equip the Z sword and the light armor, because now I can swing the Z sword, so it does pretty quick damage. And I am going to equip the invulnerable bracelet, which is actually the super bracelet, but good job, localizers. Go almost there on this one. There we go. And we can just walk up here. Now we revive the king, because we found that soldier Bob the Builder that we like to call him in the rando.
Hopefully we can find some glitch to let you stay in the teleported state. Just activate the cutscenes from there. Doesn't matter where they put you. Just like, yep.
We'll just stand on the king's little arm thing just to be nice. Now we're getting our final stone, so now we can go into the world of evil. And if this was vanilla, I think we'd be probably between areas 2 and 3 right now. So, just a bit of speed on this.
Just a quick jump. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Love how you barely get a high enough level to swing one of the mid-game swords.
Yeah. Now the main character is going to impersonate a machine gun here. There we go. And then the soul blade.
Aura.
Yep, when the scaries show in the background, then it starts hurting us. So, but now we have the soul blade. We can take these on to get much more. And
you gotta love the
now.
Just the giant wedges are basically an intended experience farm.
Yeah, just the spinning evil drywall or whatever it is there. Now we don't need to revive or Phoenix. Just go right to here. And shouts to PLDim for the next part. This first part, we're going to be just holding out our sword to defeat the boss. So, not too difficult here. But next part, yeah, very much so. Phoenix in this game, most powerful spell in the game, but against the last boss can only do one hit per swing with your sword, because the boss actually has 255 defense. But since we have the super bracelet and the sword, we're actually doing 2 damage per hit. So it does make it go a little bit faster here. So we go up here and tickle his horn. And
I can't believe
up there.
This is so silly. Right. Chat revolting over the dancing grandmas. It's right up there with train suplexes. Get this runner out of here. He's a fake. He's a fraud.
Oh no. Oh, need one more thing there. There we go. And there we go. Time.
Interesting.
My PB right now is at 2450, so I think there's still places for this to go, but it all depends on if someone wants to really get all of that happening. So, but some other funny notes on this: the ending cutscene, will actually stop in 2 places because we didn't revive enough people. So, now we can go to heaven. So there we go.
Soft.
That's pretty much the run.
Right.
I guess anything, shouts to those who helped me and tolerated me putting this on a little bit, and also to the Rando Blazer and the Soul Blazer speedrun, but also to you, the Sid, who's a person, and thank you so much for your interest in this. This was a lot of fun to show.
Yeah, I saw you posting it in our channel, and I was just like, what is this? Then I booted up the one boss that you skipped, and I'm like, yeah, we're good. Let's do this. Hey, I'm glad that we were able to get this set up. There's a little bit of a scheduling conflict, but even if we the runner, unless they are no longer wanting to, is able to. But I guess we'll be switching over to Illusion of Gaia. One last chance with Mike. You have anything you want to say before we over Dented and you head on out to be an adult?
Well, I'll just say thanks to everyone watching for your support, and also to my family for your support as well. They're awesome, and anyone who wants to get into Soul Blazer, definitely either check speedrun.com. There's some stuff there, and also just Rando Blazer is also pretty fun too. So either way, thank you all so much. Really appreciate it, and excited to see the next run.
Sounds good.
Good luck to you, Mr. Freet.
Great. So we'll change over real quick. Howdy. Now we've got the other game I promised, Illusion of Gaia with Mr. Freet. So I'm going to throw it over to Mr. Freet and his commentator to let you guys know exactly what we're doing. And I'm just going to sit here and be chatter. That's hand it over to you, Freet.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome. I know you're all excited to see Mr. Freet run through Illusion of Gaia right now. The man, the myth, the legend, the machine that he is. I am Solasol 007 Roman Commentary. I apologize ahead of time. I do not have the same British voice you all want to hear, but I know you're here to watch him run through this. How are you doing today, Mr. Freet?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Do you want to count me down, or?
Yeah, sure. I can count you down. We'll go from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so if you've never played this game before, it's an action RPG. I wouldn't say it's an action adventure. I wouldn't say it's an RPG game. It's very linear. So a lot of this is just going to be going from A to B, getting through the dungeons, getting through the just mandatory sections. There's not really many glitches in this game, though there are a few, which I will be exploiting. But it's mostly about clever use of game mechanics.
Yeah, right now we're going through the beginning of the game. We learned the real reason we're about to go on an adventure. We're looking for Will's father. And that's the basis of the next 2 hours. So we're going to discover the telekinetic powers that Will has, and we'll explore them as we go through. Pick up new abilities, we'll pick up transformations. There's a lot going on in this cave right now, which we do not have the time to talk about, but this is just the start of what is 2 hours of Mr. Freet just exploiting every possible movement mechanic we can think of for this run. And when he starts to sprint, hopefully you're able to pay attention to all the diagonal lines that he runs. He's definitely put in a lot of work to make sure that everything is fine-tuned, highly technical, and it's inspired everybody to really push their times down, seeing what he has come up with over the past few months, past couple of years.
But it's just one of those games that, or speedruns, that's really deep mechanically, and it feels like there's always something to learn, something to improve.
Yeah, some things are very punishing, some things not so much. So to sprint in this game, you have to double tap a direction. It doesn't just stop there, though. You can triple tap a direction so that when you want to change directions, you'll stop immediately instead of just double tapping a direction. Some corners you can roll around, which means they're a little forgiving if you don't have the perfect line. Some things like NPCs will hard stop you if you run into them.
Yeah, pretty infamous for runners. Just this bit here, I've got to go round and leave, but Bill is standing to my left, and I have to make sure that I completely go round him, because even if I'm 1 pixel too far down, like Solar says, I'm just going to be hard blocked.
Now, for some of us runners, myself included, that are a little greedy, if we're not happy the time that we're leaving South, this is right around when we would reset, just based off how fast we've gone through text boxes, how much we got caught up in the cave now by the dock. But yeah, this it's been a great South Cape so far.
Holding start here to skip a screen transition. So the game is supposed to zoom out and zoom all the way in whenever you enter a new area, but if you hold start at the world map, it just skips it.
It does, and it doesn't reset some settings that are in the game, which we only get to keep track of once we get later into the game in Angkor Wat. But we are in Edward's Castle right now. We've been, or will be soon, accused of stealing the crystal ring, which we unknowingly lied to the king that we actually do have, and we'll end up getting in prison after we meet with Kara here.
You know your mind is kind of poisoned whenever you hear Edward because you play too much Effie and you think, where's the spoon? Wait a minute, Edward has the backbone to kick us out of his castle, huh?
Yeah, a few more soldier NPCs here that we have to run around. A lot of clear lines to take there. And a few story triggers in the prison cell here to progress. Talking to the ball and chain, the moss, the door. And then we wait for a
little bit of a break. Usually I use a timer to see where I'm at, but I've got one here, so I'll just smash a little bit.
So yeah, go ahead, Freed.
So I was going to say the text is kind of interesting in this game. You might be able to hear me mashing. It's not a pure speed thing, thankfully. It's not one of those where you really want to go fast, which is a good thing. I know there's a lot of games where you want to mash as fast as possible, but thankfully this isn't one of them. But it is still a bit demanding.
Yeah, there's different types of text boxes in here. Some progress 1 frame at a time when you press a button. Others are just slow text that you have to wait, like what's happening. And there is a rhythm that you can get into to mash through it. Now, at the start of the run, Mr. Free started it in Type 2 settings. Doing that compared to Type 1, it switches the controls around a little bit, and it gives you an extra button that you can use to mash through text. So the speedrunners typically use the Type 2 settings for the controller to get through that. And welcome to the first minor dungeon of the game. So Gaia
certainly doesn't feel minor in the when you're running it. This is a
this is a very technical dungeon. You'll see him right through this skeleton right now through something called a freak dash. It's something that PJ had found a long time, and nobody really thought it was going to be too technical to kind of go through and use all the time. But usually when you're sprinting after a double tap, you want to continue moving even while you're attacking. So if you hit a diagonal in the direction you're moving, you actually continue sprinting, hit the enemy, and be able to run through the invincibility frames of it. Because there's a lot of contact damage here from hitboxes. So you'll see him do some of that, at least for half of the game, before we lose the ability to do free dashes. But yeah, Mr. Freed started doing them more and more, and it kind of became his namesake.
We're alive. Good.
Yeah. You think you'll get a heart drop in the next area?
Not sure.
You have a
So
farm for one, or
I don't know. If I don't, I'll just heal.
mm-hmm.
We'll hope.
You got a
So
trick
I
coming
need-
into the first dungeon. Go ahead, Freed. Sorry.
Oh, need to wait till 3 here. We've got in about 10 minutes or so. There's a pretty big skip. Saves almost a minute, but you basically need to be near full health. So the only real opportunity to grab that without losing time is coming up, but it's random. I'm just gonna hope. And then we get our first transformation.
Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with that bat when he comes out of the dark space here. We meet Gaia, who helps us through our journey, and this is our first transformation. Like Freet said, this is Friedan, the Dark Knight. The good parts about Friedan are that he uses a weapon. It's actually a weapon and not just a flute to hit enemies, so he does more damage. His reach is also longer, which is why we need to transform to him here. He's got to hit a switch that Will can't reach. Will has kind of physical body moves that he uses to damage enemies when he eventually learns special moves. Friedan here learns projectile moves, in a sense, that we'll be using at some point, at least the first one that he learns. So the brown skeletons here, when you destroy their heads, they can drop health to restore you 5 HP. A little unlucky here, but like Freed said, when we get to the next town, go into a dark space on purpose, we'll go ahead and heal up. He needs HP, like he said, for a trick that he's going to do in the first major dungeon.
Yeah, it's not even that bad for the speedrun. It only loses you about 3 seconds if you have to do it, so it's not that bad.
We did a jump attack there over the trigger so that he'd be closer to the door to gain that distance instead of just running into the trigger and then having to sprint all the way up to the door. That was a pretty good jump too. Really close to where the trigger was. Got it. Yeah, I know a lot of people, their gripe with this speedrun is having to double tap every time you want to go in a certain direction as a sprint, but you do get used to it after a while. It's not that awful on your thumb.
And once you start getting used to it, I feel like you really start to appreciate what it brings. I keep trying to split. I need to think about that. All right, pretty good start. Didn't die. You need a heal. Hopefully, Moon Tribe is okay, and I don't go to 0.
Yeah, so
rare,
he's going.
Go ahead. No, that was it. I was just going to say it can happen. It's pretty rare, though.
Yeah, but you're going to get a 12 Moon Tribe, so it's going to be fine.
Be nice.
So we came back to our home with Grandpa Bill, Grandma Lola, but they're not here. We see the sign of a bounty hunter right here. So Lily, who we met in the dungeon, which he didn't even talk about, she is going to her hometown. And they'll show us that our grandparents are safe. This is where will get his very first ability. And we'll kind of learn what we need to do to start getting our first mystic statue. Our dad talked to us in that cell, speaking to us telepathically through the flute, letting us know we need to travel the world and collect the mystic statues and bring them to the Tower of Babel. We do have a purpose now. We need to know how to get started with that. And we'll learn that here in this town.
I think this is Lily's hometown as well. I think it is her hometown.
Tori.
So I'm going to run into the house here, which saves a little bit of time. Normally you'd have to wait for Lily and Kara to be there, which I don't know how long it takes. I think it's a few seconds, but if you run in that house and come back out, they'll just be standing there. Something we do a few times during the run.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You kind of liken it to Link to the Past almost, where every single screen has some kind of technical best path and optimal thing you can do to get from point A to point B. And that's true here for Gaia, where you want to just cut down as many frames. It's not even seconds, it's just frames as you can on every single screen. So this is Psycho Dash. If Freet holds his attack button, he'll start to flash green. And then it'll flash faster, letting him know that it's charged up. That'll allow him to charge into enemies or walls to knock them down. And the game tells you, look for cracks where you see Will's hair blowing, or if you hit a wall and it sounds different when you attack it, then you're meant to use a Psycho Dash there. So he goes into this cave, he opens up the wall, he gets Inca Statue A. And we'll be traveling to Moon Tribe for a battle test to try to get Inca Statue B.
So I've got to try and not take damage here. If I do, it's okay. Just have to deviate from the normal strategy, but it should be okay.
Yeah, if he's got 7 or 8 HP right now, he'll be fine to do everything he wants to. If he's down to 6 or 5, he'll just have to take one kind of safety. But if he's less than 5, then he'll have to take a Death Warp at the start of the next dungeon.
Unfortunate.
These worms move in an RNG pattern. You kind of hope they line up, but he did what he could with that. So, yeah. Good fight with what he was given. Inca Statue B, and on to the Incan Ruin.
And this will be one of the few dungeons that looks different from a casual route. We're basically just going to skip 60%, I think.
Something like that.
If all goes well.
The old speedrun skipped probably 30, 40% of it by using an extension of Will's attack blocks. Just go halfway through it to get Freedan to come back. But one of the randomizer players for this game, SO5Z, was playing around in this dungeon and accidentally discovered what we call the Z ladder skip right now, where we're going to go straight to the end after this first screen, after we get the diamond block to go through this first screen. Using more Freet dashes to get through enemies. And then usually you're charging a Psycho Dash if you have an enemy that you have to kill while you're running. And being able to do a Freet Dash to then continue to sprint and charge that saves you a little bit of time, as opposed to charging it at the beginning from an attack and then just sprinting to that enemy. So we got the diamond block, that's going to open up the path here. Because he's at full HP, he's going to put the block in, which the game locks him in place. He's going to get hit, he's going to run out, run back in, and that puts all the blocks down. We don't have to wait for an RNG pattern for them to fall, because that is RNG. Guard dash through that spike while sprinting. And now he's going to do the Z ladder skip. So you're kind of locked in place when you take damage, but you're trying to go up that ladder, and if you get hit a second time in that state while you're holding the right combination of direction, you'll trick the game into thinking that you are still climbing a ladder, even though there is no ladder. So he's down the rock face there to get into the last room. And because
little trick to do.
Yeah, it's
really
not
not a
too
hard
bad.
one.
There is a faster way that is really not consistent to try to do, but it's the trick by itself is perfectly easy to learn to do. We didn't pick up the wind melody in the dungeon, so we have to just know what golden tile to stand on there, which that never changes. So it's always second from the bottom and 4 from the right. He's going to put in both Inca statues. He's going to turn into Friedan here to fight the first boss, and I am going to shut up because this boss requires Mr. Freet to concentrate. So enjoy the watch.
Got it. Nice.
And there you go.
So that's a really hard trick to do. You have to get a little bit lucky. You have to get in a certain position first and foremost based on what the first attack that comes out of Castoff's head is. But there's a 1 in 4 chance you're just going to get a pattern that's bad and you can't do it. But you basically have to do 20 attacks, none of which can be buffered. So you have to time them, and you've only got 8 frames across the 20 attacks to get the 1 cycle. And that's assuming that your first attack was done frame perfectly, which it most likely isn't. So more often than not, you've only got about 4 frames of leeway to do that trick. And if any of those inputs come early, your attack doesn't come out when it's over. So that's why I specifically like do loud inputs for that. Very hard trick, and it saves about 15 seconds, which is a pretty big deal in the run.
Now, if you were paying attention to him on the webcam, you also took his headset off one ear so he wouldn't have to listen to the music. And it's unfortunate, but it's the same thing for when we're fighting the final boss of the game. The is just slightly faster than what the music while you're trying to do that. Crow's Nest skip right here with not getting locked by the game up there because he's talking to the guy at the top of the Crow's Nest, but then immediately next frame trying to go down the ladder, and that breaks the game's control over you. You save a little bit of time there.
Yeah, there's a few instances in the game where you'll start a cutscene, you'll lose control of your character, but the game will give you 1 input, and with that input, it's all said, when I got to the ladder, I buffered down to go back into the ladder, which the game just wasn't a huge fan of. So what do we think the fish are going to be like?
Oh, more RNG, more RNG. So, in the Edwards underground tunnel, after the prison, he went out of his way to pick up an herb. And that cost 7 seconds, maybe. You can actually me on that if you want free. But
I think the best you can get it is like 5. I only tossed in 5, but yeah, about 7.
I can't believe you just corrected me in front of all these people.
8, you gave it to me, so I'm taking it.
So that herb and all herbs will refill you, which is great. We definitely need them for parts of the run, but it did cost time to go get that. However, on day what the heck it actually is here, as each scene on the you're going to see your HP decrease, and on the last day that you'd be able to survive, you're down to 1 HP, and you need to refill your HP to full before you can progress the scene. And you're waiting on the fish that are jumping across the screen, which, oh my goodness, you know you're not going to get any. Look how many fish were there.
No, that was a lot there.
The number of fish, the frequency, it's all RNG. It's all random. So you're hoping for a lot, but there's almost no pattern that would be faster to get fish than just to go get that herb, use that herb to refill, and then just wait for 4 good fish to eat. So that's why he went to get that herb. The next scene will be him hoping for good fish RNG. So he eats the herb.
Mm.
He's getting pretty...
Oh, I got the worst last fish as well.
Yeah,
Wasn't that good at all.
Really, that's the marathon fish right there.
That very last fish, so whenever you hit a fish, oh, I'm going to have to go for that. Whenever you hit a fish, it lands at a different height on the raft. There's only one position that I got punished for doing my move. Of course it happened.
So as soon as Kara stands in place in front of that post, the game starts checking for a fish that you hit. So the fish that it actually took was one that was not even close to the raft. He did a jump attack to extend his hitbox and was lucky enough to hit the fish all the way off to the edge, just to save a little bit of time. So we go through this little waiting scene right here. We're getting circled by sharks.
Or dolphins? I don't know it. I don't actually know if it's stated if it's sharks.
They say sharks.
They say sharks there. That was the last word that Kara said, but...
Ah.
Sure.
Okay.
Copy dolphins? Alright, we're done with the raft now. Nobody likes that section. It's pure RNG. Is it scurvy I think he gets?
It is scurvy that he gets. So they wash up on shore here. The doctor saves them. And we are now on continent 2. Raring to go for our next part of the adventure.
Yeah, ramps up in difficulty now as well. And it's only going to get harder and harder.
The next minor dungeon is also extremely technical. It's going to introduce a new mechanic for speed that we use called death warping, which I'm sure everybody here knows what death warping is.
Just going to interact with two, well, I'd call them bins, but trash cans for, is it a herb and I think +1 max health?
Well, it's +1 max health and it's 1 herb without the H. So yeah, one of our traveling companions. Oh yeah, where are you going to end up? Oh.
Close, but...
Yeah. One of our traveling companions was kidnapped. He's letting us know that there's some laborers in the diamond mine that we need to go rescue, so we're going to go there. Unbeknownst to the runner right now, there's a one of our other ability at the end of this dungeon that's going to help them regain their memory. You would know that ish playing casually, but not in the speedrun. So diamond mines, some of the enemies movement are based off of when you actually activate them on proximity on the screen, which will be the beholders that we see. Others, and I can get corrected on this, like the phasers, the lizards, are just going to move in RNG patterns for the most part. But these first few screens are pretty well mapped out on how you want to move through them. So he's going to pick up this herb. This will mean that he has 2 herbs for the 3rd major dungeon. And he's going to hold on to them until then. Hitting these 4 switches to open up the gateway. Hitting that one lizard just because he can, apparently. And we are going to be traversing on the path here to get Friedan's first ability. But we've got a really, really interesting room to go through coming up after the one he's in right now. Saving a little bit of time there. The bottom tile set of ramps you can jump onto. And if you do that correctly, it'll give you the same speed as if you had ran all the way down from the top of the ramp, saving a little bit of time. He's going to wait for just a moment at the top of that fence to manipulate this beholder to move the way that he wants, kill it with the Psycho Dash, and then continue on.
A little bit of a change of plan. I took a hit there, so I could go for a riskier strategy, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to use this new ability that I'm getting here to kill that worm that I just got past. Normally, I'd want to take a hit to get to this health, because I'm one hit away from death, and we're about to death warp. But if I fail a double tap, I'd have to go all the way back to the cell. It's a bit of a double whammy, because this enemy has a high chance of dropping health, but if he gives that, he gives that.
It's alright.
Yeah. Oh, he shouldn't die.
How dare that worm. But all things considered, it's okay. I know I have died from not getting health there, and then that Flazer just having some weird hitbox from throwing a whip. He's going to throw Darkfire there again to hit that worm. We needed Darkfire for that. That unblocks that fence, and we can come up here and rescue this laborer.
I don't think we talked about wall glitches, did we? Oh, I'm running through all these different barriers.
Oh, yeah. So when he defeats an enemy or hits certain switches, you'll see this orb appear, hover there for a moment, and then go to some barrier or something. And normally while you're playing, you have to wait for that to clear before you can run through it. But if you go into your inventory and back out, it's the same as if when he in Tory Village walked into a house to make sure NPCs were at their ending location when he came back out. It's the same kind of concept. If you go into your inventory and back out, the barrier will be down. It might on screen look like it's still there, but it's gone and you can run through it or exit the screen or whatever you need to do, whatever it opened up. We also took a death there as a death warp to get to the beginning of the dungeon again. Every dungeon has checkpoints or a singular checkpoint. In this particular dungeon, there's just one checkpoint at the start. So when you die, you'll go back to the start of it. It's closer to go to the second half of the part of the dungeon from the entrance than it was where he was currently. So took the death warp. We'll take another one here at the end of the dungeon, running back. He needs 2 keys to get to the very end, and there's a room on either side of that door that he needs to go through that holds a key.
Oh! Just in case.
So yeah, the worms and the beholders, they do 3 HP worth of damage. The Flazers do 4 HP. Every full orb of HP you see on the screen is actually 2 HP. So currently he's got a max HP of 14. Even though it's only 3 orbs. Okay, nice jump attack and into a speak to knock him back for a better angle to sprint up. After talking to Seth here. He's teaching him the memory melody, and he'll be using that back in Frisia to return Lance's memory. Guard the door. All the swag. And he'll just take a quick shot, and he's back at the beginning of the dungeon. Don't split here, Freak. Oh, another thing. Freak told you about holding start to your ending location, but you can also pre-buffer, almost buffer, but you can press your destination with like a down and a select about a second or so before it actually pops up on screen.
Yeah, for anytime you see me go to the map and you hear like me making a selection, I'm just holding down and just mashing B. But the very last 3 dungeons of the game, you hold right. Very simple to remember and memorize the map movement, though I have definitely lost runs to at the very end of the game. Holding down instead of right. The mistake costs like a minute and a half. It's really punishing.
It's the worst when you are trying to go to the pyramid and you end up going back to Native's village. all the way at the end. So right before he used Memory Melody here, he double tapped up to sprint, used the Memory Melody, and then that locks us into this cutscene. But it allows Will to continue sprinting up from just the drift of that double tap. And knowing what I see on screen right now, I know that he's pressed completely up against Eric. So that when this cutscene's over, all he has to do is mash, and he'll talk to Eric, and Lance will have a text box too. He doesn't have to move up to him or change position or anything. So we are going to move to Neil's cottage, which it's just a very short part of the game, but it's such a pain in the butt when you're trying to do it optimally. There is four things you have to interact with. We've got the telescope, the wings, the oxygen tank, and the camera that we have to interact with while moving around Neil here. Just a short little scene. Now we're going to the second major dungeon, just like that. So there's a constellation of the Condor, and for the life of me, I couldn't tell you where we're getting all the information from. During the raft scene, you could see a red star in the sky. We're going to this place right now, the Nazca Plains. And our goal, after some story triggers, is going to be to point out where that red star is on the constellation. And it's going to be at the left leg joint. And this will teleport Will into Sky Garden, the next major dungeon. Very technical dungeon. It's not, I don't know, would you call it as bad as Diamond? I think it's a little easier, but you can make it hard on yourself with how technical you
I think with if you're going for the new strats included, yeah. Because the room 2, which I'm not going to be doing here because it's way too dangerous.
Okay. That's very fair.
I can't risk the hard lock.
Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into the game when you are receiving items, which cause music changes, and depending on what's going on, it's too much for the game and it can hard lock. And an example of that is in room 2 of Sky Garden. Sky Garden's broken into 4 rooms. You need the balls, and that'll give you access to the boss. There's a very risky tech you can do to open up the chest that has the crystal ball at the end of room 2. But when you couple that with a perfect death warp and manipulating your HP, it's a very high stress moment, and it's not really for now. And this is the last major dungeon where we have full access to free dashes for the entirety of it. And some hits here. The underside enemies do 5 HP worth of damage. The above side enemies do 4 HP, so he's manipulating for a perfect death warp, so he just needs to take 1 hit from this worm here, and he'll death warp. Each room has a checkpoint in Sky Garden, so when he dies, he'll just go to the entrance of each room. We'll do another ramp glitch here, utilizing the bottom tile of the ramp to get across instead of having to run up the stairs. And then we're going to fight this sword to get Friedan because we need his Dark Friar ability again. Nice sword tech there to kill that sword quickly. How you feeling about the bar, Friet?
It's going really well. I'm blessed. But this is a scary part, regardless. Hopefully I don't mess up.
So there's an enemy, after he makes another screen transition, that he needs to kill with Dark Friar. You can hit it with Friedan's sword if he's right up against the wall, but you need to hit him to actually make a move in that direction, like that. So that was well timed, and we're moving on. So he's going to get to the end of this part of the room. He's going to defeat the bot, and then that's going to cause an orb to appear. He does not want to pick up that chest until that barrier is gone. There is a tiny window when you can, and it won't crash the game. But like we said, it's not for right now. This is for actual going for recce runs. All right, good room 2. Room 3 is more of a puzzle room where you need to kind of find your way on the underside of the map or a bunch of posts in the ground, so you can sprint from the right side all the way to the left side to get up to the crystal ball. But with jump attacks while you're on the ramp, not the hardest thing in the world to do. You just skip the entirety of all that puzzle. You get the 3rd crystal ball, and then, because it's about 2 to 3 seconds faster, we're going to transform back into Friedan. You can do that in this room, you can do that in room 4, which is the next room we're going to go to, but it is faster to turn into Friedan here and run out of the room with him.
Yeah, much less of a headache as well.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty scary.
He did a little bit of a trick there with a jump attack from the location of the edge of where those posts were going to pop up. I think the game believes that you have Friedan at this point to smack that with your Dark Friar or hit it with a sword. But you can, as will, still hit that switch to gain access to the dark space.
Oh. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Run's dead.
Good thing I hit that knight. So I may potentially get hit there.
So yeah, the underside of the room 4 is a little sketchy. You need to defeat another sword so you can telekinetically pull a statue, but you've got a bunch of these worms moving around. You've got the sword itself moving around. Now he will try to take
play that a little bit safe. I could have taken an extra hit there, but just in case I mess this up.
Having to, because if you die in room 4, you go back to the beginning of room 4, but you're no longer Friedan. We have this trick he just did. He used item buffering to move down 4 pixels. If he had tried to do that without item buffering, almost guaranteed you'd hop down that ledge and have to go back around. Up on the last possible pixel and just walk right past that statue, instead of having to destroy that sword and then pull the statue out of the way. Alright, time for Viper. I'm gonna shut up again. Enjoy the show.
Take it. Good fight. Good fight.
So this was the introduction to attack canceling. If you swing your flute out, it has a hitbox while it's moving, but if you turn direction real quick, and then it's hard to describe. If you hit a diagonal, I should say, and swing again, you're not having to go through the entire animation of an attack. And so if you do that quickly enough, you can get multiple hits in and just beat that boss quicker. That was
you don't get to increase your you don't increase your DPS by doing that, but the main factor the main reason why you want to do that in that fight is the entire time, most of the time, the wind is pushing you down. So you're attacking, and instead of attacking and being pushed down, you're cancelling the attack and moving back up and trying to basically stay as high as you can.
Yeah, so with that wind on also, I think iframes, that time that lasts is shorter for Viper than an actual full attack. I could be wrong, but it helps with that.
I don't know individually now.
Yeah.
If you don't do any cancelling, you could maybe get 2 hits and then you're dragged to the bottom. So you're basically forced to. The usual strat would be to do jump attacks.
Yeah.
Which they're really good to do, but they can also put you in a pretty rough situation. Because you are invincible the entire time that you're mid-air in a jump attack, which makes them really powerful. But there is a moment at the very start and the very end where you're basically vulnerable, and during that moment you're not moving. So.
Yeah, and that is another downside to Friedan, is you don't have the range of invincibility that you would with Will. So even if the Friedan is stronger, most of the time we're trying to use Will just because from a movement and mechanics, he's just better to use for the speedrun.
Also, you may have noticed that.
Good.
Sorry, I was going to say you may have noticed that I've actually got a full row of health now. So in this game, when you normally you're supposed to kill all the enemies, get a predetermined upgrade, either health, defense, or strength. But if you skip a room, whenever you kill a boss, you will basically be given all the upgrades. So you'll never be underleveled. That makes sense.
The only thing it skips is stuff like in trash cans or something like that. You do get everything like he says.
Yeah. So yeah, I had to, if I wanted that health up from Frisia, I had to go pick it up. It wouldn't give me that. But if the game didn't do that, the run as it is wouldn't be possible, because you'd just get one shot in the last 40% of the game.
You would totally do the run the same exact way.
No, Oh gosh, well, a little bit trolly there. Got to watch out for. Not much goes on in Seaside Palace. We're basically just going down and up. So on the way back, I've got to watch out for these NPCs. One in particular as well, because he can trap you for a minute if he wanted. It's very rare, but.
And I wouldn't even call this a minor dungeon. It's just something to go through. There were a couple enemies, but there's no upgrades in this area at all. So this just kind of gives us lore on vampires, and we're going to end up going into Mew next, which is the third major dungeon. And would you agree it's got the hardest boss in the game to go through?
Yes, absolutely. Casually and speedrun. I think anyone who's played this game casually remembers this fight. I don't think there's a single person who's played through this and gone past this boss without remembering it.
It's the reason we have the 2 herbs in our inventory right now, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. The dungeon itself is pretty trolly, so we're going to hope that RNG goes Freet's way. We've got flashers that can just teleport randomly where they show up. You might run into them. You never know. So welcome to Mew. It's going to Freet dash through these slimes, and then charge up a Psycho Dash to hit this golem enemy. You need to defeat him to and then welcome to Flashers. We usually like to call these whiz robes, like in Zelda. Alright, good RNG on that Flasher. Didn't mess that up. Going into his inventory again to clear out the barriers before they actually despawn. Now the gimmick in this dungeon is you need to collect statues of hope that allow you to change the water levels to give you access to different areas. And you'll see right here there's these 2 statues, and where their gaze meets is where a treasure chest is. Or in this situation, where the item he needs to collect is. So they're off screen, but there's 2 statues where their gaze meets right where he's standing. And it gives him the first statue of hope. So he'll take that back to the room and path.
And it gives you that hint there. You see the chest. It's actually, I believe that chest is empty, right?
It is.
But it kind of gives you a hint that I don't think there's any actual text in the game that lets you know about the statues. I think it's just that visual design there. I remember getting stuck on this as a kid, just not knowing what to do.
Lily mentioned, isn't there something weird about these statues or something like that?
She does. As we came out after I grabbed it, I'm pretty sure she mentioned.
Yeah, so I guess the game assumes you go into that other room and act like, what the heck am I even doing here?
And there's deliberately nothing in there, so you're supposed to think, why is that even there? Okay, so use the Statue of Hope, and now the water level has gone down. So I've got access to new areas. Oh gosh.
So on the next screen, he's going to be trying to go through an enemy. All right, good pattern from that golem. Go through an enemy to get to the top of a ramp. It's a bit of a technical thing to try to do with the timing. Because it's hard if you're not knowing what you're doing.
Oh, trolling. Good amount of health.
Yeah. You see a flasher just pops up, hits him for 3 damage. Or 3.
Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do. You can even attack and do a free dash the moment they spawn, but then it's kind of like expands when you hit them. Like it widens, so you can just get hit anyway.
Yeah.
On stuff.
But he is looking to death warp eventually, right after he gets the second Statue of Hope. The HP that he has right now is perfectly fine. Nothing to worry about. And he's going to run up to this dark space and get Will's second move, and it's super, super sad. We just witnessed his last free dash because we're about to get Psycho Slider, which completely removes the ability to free dash unless you're a TAS.
Yeah.
While
there's
sprinting.
One instance I could go for it in Crest, but I'm not going to. It's really difficult and not even worth it, but yeah, it's basically gone. The move is really powerful though. It does a lot of damage and it usually double hits. Very useful, but unfortunately the boss that's coming up, it's kind of a bait to use it. You get this brand new ability, but you get punished really hard in the boss if you don't use it in very specific situations.
Yeah, and it's really, really strong. It's your best way of damaging enemies, and it's faster than having to just charge up a Psycho Dash. But like you said, it's not good for bosses.
Yeah, and the bosses work different in terms of damage, so Will does 1 damage regardless. Doesn't matter what move he uses, each hit will be 1 damage. Freedan will be 2, and the character that we get towards the end of the game will be 3. So unfortunately the moves are pretty useless. I'm just going to stay here. That was a bit cheeky.
Oh, good guard. So, Free, when are you going to work with Dented on doing Illusion of Gaia out of bounds? That'd be pretty interesting to go through.
Comment.
I wonder if you can skip Fanga. You know, because it's normally it's just a barrier, but then you wouldn't get the upgrades. That sounds really.
Who needs HP and defense and strength? So yeah, we'll take a Death Warp here. And that puts us... There are no additional checkpoints. It's just at the start of the dungeon, so... Puts us... Wow. Except for near the boss, but we're not there yet.
That would be hilarious if the Out of Bounds just became a Quintet special category.
The second Statue of Hope, the water's thrown down even further. And now we need to collect 2 Rama statues, which will open the way to the boss and the Mystic statue. Which, oddly enough, he gets before he fights the boss, but for some reason still has to fight the boss. So here, he can't dash through those slimes, he has to slide through them. Now, a greedy runner would try to frame perfect slide through those tunnels because it cuts the animation down. It's a little faster, but we don't do that here. We're showcasing stuff. So yeah, the Psycho Slider, and you saw it when he was going for the second Hope statue. You can slide through these tunnels to gain access to new areas. And welcome to a very fun glitch. We get invincibility if you break a jump attack or a Psycho Slider animation by opening up a chest. So he just ran through that slime. And he's invincible. Just for that screen, though. Once you change screens, you lose. You can lose it also if you, I think, charge a move.
Yeah, any move that gives you iframes again, so a jump attack, all of those will do it. Same thing, I just did a slider into the chest and
Yeah.
we're invincible. Very useful because normally in the speedrun you really don't want to take damage here. This is boss health. However, I'm going to be doing a safety save because this is one of the, if not the hardest thing in the run, and the chances of are high enough to. Oh, okay. I've got to make sure that I actually save and select yes there. If you select no for whatever reason, you just teleport reset the console. If you want to do something. Okay, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me.
Yeah.
These save prompts take a while to load. That is kind of rough.
So there's 2 screens before the boss that you can like feasibly get hit. So we got through those. We're fine. We have full health. If like you go into this fight with 2 herbs, if you're doing what we call the crawl axe strat with a defense and 1 extra herb, it definitely helps. But it does cost like 40 some seconds to set that up. If you do this fight and you use an herb, you don't get that back. So it's really, really hard to deal with if you take a death. So if he does, which he won't because he's Mr. Freet and he's world record holder
My
so much of this game, it's just a pain. So all right, I'm gonna quiet myself again, enjoy.
It's not going how I would like, but oh no. Okay, good. Very good. That's exactly what I would like.
What the heck are you saving that herb for?
For the end game, dude, you know why I'm saving that herb, and I'm going to pick up another one.
You
know it.
Great fight, though. Great fight. For showcase, having over 100, GG on your timer. In fact, does not matter which wire you cut. Okay.
Oh, and you can select it multiple as well, so if you're mashing, you'll cut the wire like 4 times.
Yeah.
Fun.
Hardest boss down. That's got to be a weight off your shoulders. Why the heck did you go save?
It is.
You had that in the bag.
True.
Alright, so now we got a little bit of a tech smashing session. Poor Seth, when we were on the gold ship, got thrown overboard and swallowed by Riverson. Which, Leviathan, for a different translation. But he's gonna Morse code a conversation with us.
If you're curious as to why we don't run the Japanese version, because usually Japanese version in games is a faster speed run because of the text, this is the speed of the text boxes in the Japanese version. It's every single text box is like this, so it turns out to be, I think, about 15 minutes slower.
It does. It's a huge time difference. There are so the Mummy Queen boss fight is way faster in the Japanese version. There are other differences. The second boss, the Viper fight, is a different spread. The vampires behave completely differently in the Japanese version. But the text just rules all as a difference.
Yeah, the text is giving me some Final Fantasy Tactics Little Money vibes, honestly.
All right, yet
Oh
another.
That's a brilliant example of getting stuck on NPCs.
NPC's final boss.
So a lot of the corners in this game are really forgiving. You'll notice that I may not hit something, go around the corner perfectly, but the corner will guide me through. Really generous, but NPCs.
Yeah.
Ooh, a little bit slow, but it's okay.
Angel Dungeon.
Thankfully,
Another minor dungeon. You're going to see him defeat enemies like he's been doing, obviously, but his positioning is what's important here, because you don't want to have to wait for certain enemies to die for you to run through there. So if he boosts around the corner of the left side of that door, he won't take damage from that enemy's body or those explosions. He's going to mostly take a little bit of damage here. He's got health to spare. And get rid of this enemy again, do the same thing. If he was really, really low on HP, because you don't get a fill between here and the next major dungeon, you would kill both those enemies right there. They would give you a health upgrade, and that would completely refill your HP. But he'll get lucky here with some HP drops from these enemies, so it won't be a problem. Freet, where were your HP drops? It's a problem.
no idea. No idea.
Alright. Sandfanger does 9 damage, I believe, so he's still perfectly fine. And even if it does get super, super sketchy, he'll be in a few dark spaces. He can always heal in the next dungeon.
Just trying to beat them pre-recorded allegations on purpose.
A little bit of spot the difference here. Just gotta check the first room out and then point to what the second thing is. You've got to be careful, though.
The arrow hitboxes can be a little sketchy sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you're running this in 100%, if you accidentally walk out after you spot the difference with these chests, it's either locked out for good or it's extremely slow to try to go back through it again.
It's locked out for good.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience. I think if you miss the herb, which is the first chest, you can deliberately fail the second chest, which forces you to go back into the first to look again, which then you can grab it. But if you do it on the second chest, it's no good.
So we get the magic dust. The guy turned himself into a painting, tells you to use the magic dust on his painting of Kara, because he trapped her in a painting. I'm a little lost on the whole story behind all of this. But we'll call it filler for now. Uses the magic dust, gives her a quick kiss. Good positioning so it's not that awkward of a hug.
Halfway through the run, just over, I think.
Yeah, you're
still got the really difficult stuff though coming up still.
The dungeons,
the worst RNG boss.
They get a little weird moving forward. You think of Inca Ruins and even Sky Garden. There's a little bit of room to kind of run around in two-dimensional space, but starting with Great Wall and then you have Mount Cress and Pyramid, you start to get restricted to just one direction to run through a room for a bit with a little wiggle room. Especially Crest. Crest is just 2 tile-wide vines that you're going through. So it becomes kind of technical to run through enemies and not take damage. So we see Lance's father here. He was also at the Tower of Babel with Will's dad. He's having a rough time of it. And Freet's going to skip some text there by touching the exit trigger before the game can grab hold of him. And then we have Shelf Cake for Lily's birthday. So Lance is going to let his feelings be made known to Lily outside here. Now, he kind of gives you the choice, if you talk to him, of a necklace, flowers, or something else, I forget. But everybody knows what Mr. Freet offers as romance. A nice raft ride with sushi.
Sushi? I don't even like sushi.
He's hard.
It's actually, I was like, your kind of raft. I was not prepared to mash that.
So he's going to read Lance's letter, which is going to unlock the next dungeon on the map. We're going to go to Great Wall, where we will pick up Will's third and final movement ability. It's power, not something you usually use for damage, but it allows you to traverse ramps and slopes and get to further parts in a dungeon you normally wouldn't be able to. So yeah, we no longer have the Freet Dash, but speed-wise, we don't want to slide into every enemy. So he's going to turn up quickly enemy and then sprint through it while it has iframes. We'll do that 3 more times coming out of this room.
Didn't get the 4 spares, unfortunately.
Wow.
So if you're really speedy, oh, I got 3. If you're really speedy, you health. I think I'm going to go for the little bit of the safer option with the snake hair, just to make sure that I don't get one shot by Fanga. So you can just damage boost through him, just a little bit quicker, but Fanga does a lot of damage. And the fight can be a real mess, depending on what your RNG is like.
Yeah, the fight, like, Fanga herself is not a hard boss. She has 3 patterns of spawning, and you can do 2 damage to her per cycle if it's a vertical or horizontal pattern. If it's an egg cycle, where she puts 2 eggs on the floor, then you can get up to 8 hits, feasibly. But you need to factor in that she is adding enemies to the fight when she does that, and that can really start to mess things up. Now, Mr. Freet just got done doing a sequence break. He held B to do a Psycho Slider while I was in between those ramps. The game's not expecting you to do that. It's expecting you to go further in, get spin dash, or get spin dash, and then go back through the ramps.
Really easy to do, though. And it's interesting because the devs definitely knew about it, because if you do it earlier, technically you would be soft locked, but if you just walk along the wall, you'll be teleported at the beginning of the room.
Yeah.
Which it's interesting that they knew about it and just thought, we'll leave it. But a really easy sequence break. Saves, I believe, like 2.5 minutes, I think.
Yep, something like that. So he's getting Freedan early. He needs Dark Friar to defeat the enemy in the next room. And then he'll actually go to the dark space he's meant to get spin dash. Now, if Mr. Freet were doing the any % with wrong warp run, this would be the last major dungeon that he'd be doing. And he'd be using the next minor dungeon in Mount Crest to warp to the credits. Or if he was doing Beat Dark Gaia, he'd warp to the Dark Gaia fight.
I don't think we mentioned it earlier, but saving pixels and frames here, every time I get a new ability, you'll see me charge up and then I'll do a Psycho Dash, which pulls me closer to the intro. Tiny little that we do like half a dozen times in the run.
Yeah, brings you closer, and also his position horizontally, where he's at, it allows him to just double tap down. He doesn't have to go at an angle to just exit the dark space.
Alright, one more room and then we'll see how lucky I get.
Chat, how many eggs do you think Mr. Freet's going to get? We want egg cycles, so not how many eggs. How many egg cycles do you think he'll get? 5 would be optimal, I believe. Average is probably 2.5, I think, something like that. If he gets more than 5, something has gone horribly wrong in the fight. There's a little bit of panic.
Horribly wrong and horribly right. Yeah. Let's see.
I'll wish for 3.5 for you.
I just don't want it to be a party Fanga. That's the last thing I want.
And let's have more horizontals, no vertical cycles.
Yeah, verticals are the slowest thing.
Alright. Enjoy the fight, folks.
It's vertical. So two hits per cycle unless I get an egg, and then I can get up to 8. So, really want those eggs, and I'll know if the spawn is far away from me, it's an egg for sure. So if I see it and it's far away, there's an egg. Oh, she eggs, she also spawns, there's another egg. So now I only killed one, so now she's going to have a baby, causing issues. I've got this guy running around. Yeah. Kind of want to kill this baby when I can. I'm actually just going to kill it. Just a little bit of damage there. Not getting great RNG. One more egg would be nice. Yeah, not the hardest fight. The problem with this fight is you're just praying, and it matters so much. Overall, good enough. I think I had 3 verticals there. I think that was about average.
We'll call that 3.5 eggs, though.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't moan at it.
Yeah. There have been fights where there's been no eggs. Yeah, that's
each
the
egg
last...
is about 15 seconds as well, so it's a big deal.
That's the last set of upgrades that he's going to get for a long time. So the next dungeon's not too bad in terms of damage, or that's a minor dungeon. But then you have Anchor Watt as another minor dungeon, which things start to hurt. And then you have to go into Pyramid as a major dungeon where things really obliterate you quickly.
Yeah, the game, by the time you get to Pyramid, you're expected to have an additional 2 dungeons worth, which I believe up until now it's been it's only been at most 1 minor dungeon in between bosses to get those upgrades. So now we're just going to be doing 3 dungeons in a row before getting anything, and
yeah, maybe that's unfair of me to call Anchor Watt a minor dungeon. It's definitely a beast. Definitely more complicated than other ones.
Yeah, it's got its own music as well, which all the other minor dungeons have the Danger Abound song, and all the major dungeons have their own music, but I believe the Jackal was initially going to be a boss fight for Angkor Wat. Just got scrapped at some point, I believe. Not 100% sure on that though. But if you played the game, you know what happens to him. So here I don't even have to be fast. I actually just have to wait for this lily pad to come back.
Is your inventory all good from having 1 herb? I think so, yeah? Yeah.
I've got 2 herbs. I'll figure it out. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you grabbed the second one, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Inventory management's interesting in the sense of having an extra herb or something could throw off where stuff is in your inventory, which can cost time when you're trying to find it. If his inventory was... But he's fine for now.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I think that was for any percent though. But yeah, no. If I had no herbs, I would want to grab a jewel just to make the menus easier and faster. Yeah.
Continuing the dark themes that this game portrays, we're doing some Russian roulette. We're just going to assume that's soda they're drinking. And this guy just gets a bad stomachache and gives us his travel animals for it. We needed some way to cross the desert to get to Euro. And these Crux, which are like kangaroo camels, are what we're going to use. And in his will, he gives them to us.
Oh. Alright, last major city. It's only going to be villages from here on out.
And this is where instead of holding down to go a dungeon, he will be holding right on the map to go to them. So, an important thing to kind of think of when you're going through the run.
This is, if you want to have a bathroom break when you're speedrunning this game, this is it. This is your bathroom break. I think it's 50 seconds. Good luck. That's it for the whole 2-hour run.
If you're doing 100%, go ahead. Yeah, it's auto text right now. If you're doing 100%, this is where you have to sit in that line and wait for 2.5 minutes as it slowly moves in that lower building to be able to pick up, I think, an HP or your Dark Friar power. I forget which is important for that. Alright, so he does not have access to the next dungeon yet. He has to go talk to Old Man Freet and Old Man Solar bickering in the house, and one of them will mark it on his map for him. And then he'll be able to go through Cress, and you'll be able to see what I said about the dungeons becoming pretty narrow. Cress is just a bunch of vines that you have to run through. It's a bit of a maze. But after
casually, I think this is a very memorable dungeon casually. It's just so samey looking. Everything just looks the same.
So the ends of some of these vines act like ramps, and that's what you need Spin Dash to use to get across them. Freedan does have an ability move here called Aura Barrier. It is not useful. It gives you shields that revolve around you. You're not invincible while they're revolving around you, and projectiles can go through them. So what they actually do is just give you some kind of damage if you walk close to enemies. It's not needed for anything. You don't have to use it for anything in the run. And Freedan's third ability, which is in the next dungeon, is also something that we can skip because of mechanics with Dark Friar. But we'll get to that point later. So, more invincibility here with the mushroom drops. You can do this on any screen that has a fanfare chest. There was a special fanfare when you picked up the mushroom drops. So, he's just running through enemies now. He doesn't have to worry about anything. In addition to the movement tech through here, there's a little bit of RNG, depending on how some enemies move. You're also hoping to get really low lag in certain sections. Because of the sheer amount of enemies on some of these screens, it's very easy to lag stuff out. And it's one of the reasons why we can actually use the warp in this dungeon, because there are so many entities loaded in that we actually shift data into different address registers. So he's going to get the second mushroom drops here, and then as he's running back, there's 4 fairy enemies, and how they line up with their shields revolving around them is going to kind of govern how much lag he has.
That was crazy.
So, more often than not, you'll see all 4. You hope that they're kind of paired off and split up so you don't get lag like he just got. It might not seem like it costs too much time, but you just don't want to see it. So on the screen that he is currently on right now, especially with these spiders right here, any kind of excess movement that you do can really lag the game. So much that it despawns some of the projectiles, or in some cases it can freeze the game. So he's not going to really get pretty laggy at the end of it.
My health is good here. What I really don't want is for it to get so laggy that it actually locks me in place and doesn't let me run for a few seconds. That'll happen here. If it happens, it'll happen there. Okay. This is a lot of health though, which is pretty good.
Yeah, so we are going to death warp at the end of this dungeon. There's only the one checkpoint at the start, but it's a lot to run back through. So we'll grab what we came for, the teapot, and then take a death warp. Wow. Trolley fairy there.
I don't think I've ever seen him do that before.
Of course not. Gotta be now.
Yeah, all that for a teapot.
So yeah, optimally, as you're running through this dungeon, you do want to take damage off of enemies so that you only have to run out here and get hit once or twice to warp back.
But at the same time, the damage that you want to take, kind of one of those fairies because they deal the most.
Right,
You're not
do 4
getting
damage.
too many times.
Mhm.
Damage, death warping, and optimizing your damage boosting is really technical in this game. Especially in the late game, where it also becomes kind of out of your control.
Okay, well,
that was Crest.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that was Crest. Pretty simple. You just have to not get lost. Be careful.
Yeah, it went well. We're gonna use the teapot here to reveal Neil's parents have been long dead, and the Moon Tribe here were acting like them, still running the business.
And Will, for whatever reason, just doesn't console him at all. In fact, kind of gives him grief over feeling bad that he found out that his parents died.
Well, it's been a while, but the true hero or heroine of the story has arrived. Our dear sweet Hamlet.
Don't think we saw him since the prison, right? All the way back.
And has made all the way to us in Euro with all kinds of plot armor.
Don't go far, that pig.
That'll do, pig, that'll do.
So we stop off at this village, I guess, because we're tired on our journey. Again, we're going to walk in and walk out, same as Ivory Village, all the way back, just so we don't have to wait for Kara. But it turns out this village was probably not the best place to set up camp for the night.
You can see they're pretty emaciated. So we're going to end up tied up here, which, if you're familiar with the warp in this game, you can warp to basically any screen, and to see Friedan tied up, barely held together in the ropes, is pretty interesting to see. But yeah, we're going to get tied up here, and something special is about to happen. Rest in peace, Piggy.
However, plot twist. Apparently Hamlet was our mum the whole time.
Oddly enough, if you do mash fast enough, the game doesn't... It's not able to activate all the scripts to make all of the villagers stop moving or get pushed back in shock. So he was mashing fast enough to still have 2 villagers dancing around Lit's corpse.
They're not supposed to be dancing around him.
Alright, time for Angkor. Good music, scary health management, but it's Mr. Freet. It's going to be a show.
We'll see.
Yeah, as a, casually, this is a hard place. You have those zombies that you can't even damage until you do a few hits to their head. And those hits, the number of times you hit their head goes back to 0 once their head retracts back to their body. So, giant pain in the butt. He's going to do some more attack canceling here to quickly kill this worm on the right. And then he's just going to go ahead and slide through that wall. That's the only spot in the game where you don't have to animation cancel to make the barrier appear. It just appears instantly, even though the screen shows it's still there. A little bit of running in the dark there to get up those stairs quickly. Every enemy in this dungeon does a lot of damage. Except, obviously, for the one that he just got hit by on purpose. This should prove me wrong. Those projectiles only do 1, but those purple heads, the orangish heads, they do a lot of damage. But he knows how much damage they're going to do. These golems do a lot of damage, too. But he's going to get hit purposefully by certain enemies so that his HP is at a manageable amount for good death warps. This dungeon has multiple checkpoints depending on where you're at. Because he just entered this garden, he now has a checkpoint at the entrance of the garden. Which is good, because he has not opened the way from the start of the dungeon to the garden. So if he dies, he'll still start back here. So far, not hit by any flies, which you love to see, because these flies move very, very fast, and it's often hard to kind of see where to hit them to dodge them, or just dodge them anyway. So he turns into Friedan. The game expects you to be Friedan to go get Earthquaker, his final skill, and you can use that ability to freeze enemies in place, because there's an invincible enemy coming up that you need to freeze in place before he blocks your path forward. But he's going to use a few well-placed Dark Friars to defeat this enemy off-screen while manipulating that other golem.
I got really scared there because of the shadows on the floor, and I wasn't sure what my health was. I actually messed up there. I should have taken an extra hit. This went really well. I had the optimal damage there. I just wanted to hit that skull one more time, and I'd be put at 1 health. I'll just do it a little bit slower.
So this is another checkpoint right here. He's going to activate back in Death Warp. It's better to use Will the upcoming sections, especially because you need his slider to get through some areas. So this dungeon expects you to go forward until you grab the black glasses, which will allow you to block out the blinding light in an upcoming area. But there's nothing that restricts you from just continuing through that room if you know where to go. And especially if you're looking close enough, you can still see the stairs that you need to enter, even though this light is going to completely blind you.
Can you? This is news to me.
I can. Oh, yeah. I see it on your screen. I can't see it on your screen. Maybe that's a difference on emulator.
Okay.
I feel like we should have given a flashbang warning there.
Probably, yeah. It's like it gradually goes to it.
I'll send you a picture after the ring freak, so you can see it. And then do a freak cast and tell me I've been cheating all this time. Yeah, so he's down to 1 HP. That's by design. He's going to talk to the spirit here, which, by the way, this cutscene we're about to see is a little messed up, and that's because he held start entering Angkor Wat, and the game never zoomed the screen back out. So we're supposed to be looking at a developed city here, but it's super zoomed in. Yep.
Look, guys, they have streets. They're so advanced.
The pinnacle of technology.
Hey, look, it's a roundabout. The best part of driving ever.
So this spirit gives him the Gorgon flower, which he'll use to fix the petrification on the 3 ladies that were in the right hut in Nada's village, which we didn't take the time to go see yet. But that's what we need to progress through the story.
Yeah, we're going to wait to equip it, though, until I have to open my menu anyway, so kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah. So like we said, there's checkpoints. He's back at this last checkpoint that he's activated. He still needs to run back through the dungeon now because of how Angkor Wat's laid out. And these checkpoints don't work backwards. When he stepped into the garden, he made a checkpoint. If he stepped back out, he wouldn't make a new checkpoint in the first area. That only happens from the entranceway.
That fly wanted me, and he got me.
Oy, oy, oy. So healing wise, you can heal if you're super low, but when you're running not for a showcase, your HP that you have now is the HP that you're going to have going into Pyramid. And then I assume going into Room 3. Now you can just... Well, you have to talk to Gaia anyway, never mind. Gaia gives you the aura for your to use with your final transformation. So I guess the time loss is having to wait for each individual health to heal with the damage that you take here.
I think it's like 12 seconds if you do a full heal when you're like go from nearly dead to full health. It's like 12 seconds it takes. So.
All right. Hardest dungeon in the game coming up, technically.
Yeah. You said the hardest boss earlier was the vampires, and that's true, but the scariest part of the run is coming up. If you're on PB pace, it's always nerve-wracking getting to this dungeon. I have 2 herbs, and I'm still scared.
Angkor Wat is a long dungeon start to finish. I can't really say if that compares to Pyramid, but Pyramid has the most amount of rooms that you have to go through start to finish just to collect an item. We've got 6 rooms to go through.
I went the wrong way, Solo. A little bit of a detour. So this is what happens when you hold down instead of holding right. Right, now I've got to make sure that I go to Dao and not Euro, because I think I can go back to Euro, which is... Yeah, okay, Dao. Okay. That could have been 3 minutes there.
These are the moments where I'm really glad that commentator webcams aren't shown. Oh, Mr. Free, blessed person.
You know,
so
you probably could have just like tried to gaslight the audience, be like, no, this is like Final Fantasy Tactics. I'm just manipulating.
I'm keeping it.
Anyway, moving on past whatever the heck that was. We've got 6 rooms to go through. We're gonna get Will's final transformation, Shadow, which is the strongest character, as the most unique ability in the ability to just kind of ooze through the bricks on the ground. His attack, I think, a little faster.
1 frame faster, and you can buffer, unlike Will and Freedan, so you can actually buffer, but double-edged sword, because you actually, if you attack optimally with Shadow, you'll miss attacks, basically. Yeah. And it's a big problem. If you like going for PBs and world records, it's a thing you really have to be conscious of, especially in the last...
Nothing like hitting fast enough to hit high frames.
Alright, hopefully I don't die.
Yeah, good luck in room 3. We're gonna start with room 3. It's the hardest room to go through.
I'm so dead, dude. I'm so dead. Okay, 1 herb has to be used, pretty much. Really bad start. Okay.
You got these orbs. Yeah. The rooms end with what we call the Killer 6, which is 6 orbs in line, alternating patterns. And these orbs are they're RNG. They can quick shoot, different timing on when they shoot a laser. There's no way to really tell when that's going to happen. Your hope is to kill them and hit the switch at the bottom to gain access to the first hieroglyph. But you need, optimally, to have enough HP to go through this and room 5 as Shadow before we do our first Death Warp. There's a checkpoint in each room that you enter, so it's not like you're going back to the top of the pyramid, but it does take time to go back into the dark space and turn into Shadow. And plus, when you do Death Warp or just die accidentally, all the enemies come back that you have previously defeated. So we're in the last part of room 3. He's going to keep going down, and then we'll deal with Killer 6.
Unfortunate that beginning, but at least I didn't get hit much more. I've re-equipped the second herb because if I If I get hit, I don't have time to be going out my menu.
Yeah. Good luck.
I'll die.
Wild to think that like 1 or 2 hits off the start, like casually, it looks like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, no, this is catastrophic. Please, no more. Oof, that's a pretty tight speedrun for sure.
Perfect. Exactly what I want to say.
Nice.
Now I've got a huge weight off my... I can still die. Definitely still die, but...
It's fine, the runner said it, not the commentator. There's no blame going around here. No commentator curse, we did nothing.
No. You didn't even ask me for a number, Freet. I'm kind of bummed.
Oh, I did actually what's in there. Honestly, you were right. I was gonna do that strat regardless.
Oh my gosh, we got 202 people heard you just say I was right. Thank you so much, Freet. All right, so there's 2 ways to kind of get back from the end of a room. You can death warp, or you can take those blue pools back to the top. It's faster here to just take that warp back to the top. So we're going to sink back down and go into room 5. Still some RNG. When he's sinking down, there's usually a bird soldier that's got some kind of random movement that you don't know how he's going to act, and there's just certain positions that you're going to take damage. You can't really do much about it. So he's going to come down on the right side here to give himself a good chance not to take damage.
I think I might have got the pixel. Pixel here that saves 2 seconds. I think I got it. I think. Oh. No, 1 to the left. 1 pixel too far to the left.
Yeah,
Kind
so
of a nice
if you're perfectly centered on that door frame, you'll automatically enter. You don't even have to hold a direction. But if you're not, you have to go through the whole respawning animation. Alright, going through there. Took damage on purpose because we're going to death warp at the end of here and he's got too much HP. And we get our second hieroglyph. And this is the end of Shadow in terms of rooms in the pyramid. We'll still use Shadow for the boss, but we won't see him until the end.
Still dangerous with Wildo, especially room 2.
Mm-hmm. So the speedrun got changed last year, 2 years ago? I'm losing track of time.
I think we're talking almost 3 years now, Solar.
Flippin' heck, okay.
Oh, God.
Stop reminding me how old I am.
So Don't Bagoo was looking at Gaia the Gator's maps and noticed that there's these tunnels almost on the map that nobody really paid attention to for the speedrun. But so we were always using Shadow to run through room 2 to get to the end. But turns out with Will, you can just jump down the ledge twice to open up these tunnels to lower parts of the room. And we now use that and incorporate that in the run and had to kind of rework how we go through the pyramid. And I think all in all, it saved 11 seconds?
Yeah, about 10 to 11 seconds. And it made the Shadow section a lot cleaner because you only have to go through 2 rooms with 1 health bar as opposed to 3 rooms. So
yeah.
Definitely helped the run in terms of finishing more runs without dying.
Yeah, I mean, going through the speed run, at least for me, even you're kind of like, okay, it's just fun to run through all this point. Now, a lot of runs die at Vampire, so you don't see as many runs this far into the game. And so I was always dreading Pyramid, but that definitely helped my feelings towards the Pyramid. A few rooms back, Mr. Freak came up with a way to line up all of those orbs so we could just run through instead of having to slide dash through them. A spin dash to get through these spikes and not take damage. And we'll go grab hieroglyph number 4. You're blitzing through these rooms. So yeah, next is room 2, which has the kind of change for apparently 3 years now.
Also, I have to be careful that you can soft lock the game as well. Should be okay.
Oh,
Very
right,
unlikely.
right, right.
It means I'd have to die, but it would soft lock the game.
It's when you jump down and you take that damage from the laser.
And you
Yeah.
die on it, yeah.
Yeah.
If you die after the initial break.
If you don't allow the game time for you to reset your position.
I was lucky though, no damage there.
Yeah, there's that hop down that we had to incorporate, and then the next screen also has a hop down. Now when he hops down, he's gonna hold left, so he gets knocked left, and not have to deal with running through those enemies.
Room looks nice and easy and clean when everything goes right like that, but if you take too much damage early, or if you don't hold left when you do the drop, the room slows down and becomes chaotic pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Alright, last room. And this one's not too bad. A few spin dashes up some ramps. Now, the way that his inventory is all messed around, he's got that one herb still in his inventory, but he knows where all the hieroglyphs are in each of their spots, so whenever he goes to put these into the main room...
I haven't made that mistake in years, and of course I make it in front of Solar.
I think you did
I
that
know it bugs you every time I do that.
3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Or free. Wait, you're starting to blame me. I'm just existing here.
Alright, fun boss coming up. Everyone loves this boss.
Yeah, this is another kind of like elongated Sandfanger fight where you can only do so much damage. It's even worse here because you can only hit Mummy Queen once per cycle, if you want to call it that. She's got some RNG in terms of if she's going to call down stones, if she's going to float towards you so you can damage her. He's got to make decisions depending on where the stones are, if he should wait for them, if he should go up top to the top of the fight because it's a 2-tier. And then once there's more RNG, she's either going to spin around into a ring, which is the faster cycle because he can get her back into a state where he can damage her, or if she's just going to again, and he has to wait for all of her spirits to come back to center, and that positioning is RNG. So there's a lot that goes on, and to cap it all off, if he had no herbs, he can only take one hit. 2 hits kills him. Because he has one herb, he can use that to survive just one more hit. But it's definitely scary, because like we said, his last upgrade was from beating Sand. So he's very susceptible to damage right now.
I'm mashing here and this is auto text.
So yeah, this is the Jackal. Unfortunately, scrapped from most of the rest of the game, but this was the bounty hunter that was chasing after us. Gruesome end. But that's Gaia.
Times. I think there's like 2 NPCs throughout the course of the game that like reference that you're being followed by someone. But yeah, not much mention of him. Alright, now I just gotta make sure that I don't mess up these menus. Is it just sadness? Because I actually don't know them off by heart. Oh my god. Okay, good. Alright, grab Shadow.
Yeah, so like he said before, 1, 2, or 3 damage depending on your transformation. You definitely want Shadow here.
So I think it's 6 cycles that we have to go through in phase 2.
Yeah.
Whereas with Will we'd have to do 20, right? Yeah, 20. 19 or 20.
So another good aspect of having Shadow is that he's going to be able to sink into the ground to avoid damage. So that's some good invincibility. Now I'll be quiet. Enjoy Mummy Queen.
Oh gosh, dude, this is everything is awful. Okay, well, now you see how much damage. Oh. Okay, let's do it again. Now you see how much damage she does. I completely messed up the fight from the get-go. I had her too far down.
Was I wrong,
Now I don't
or
know. I think you were wrong, it turns out. I
Or
think
did
it
that
must have been.
herb
I think
not
that's
fill
Croc Chat
over?
only.
it might be Croc's
well, I was
chat,
at-
or
I was
killing
full
those
health going
two-
into the fight.
yeah, if you kill those two orbs right in the front of the pyramid, they'll give you a defense upgrade too. I think that might also affect that.
Yeah, I was under that would have saved me.
Yeah, me too.
Minus one herb. Right. I let her get too low down, which is a big mistake.
Well, at least she's behaving and coming down.
Dude, I'm surprised that worked. Right. This is really not good. Classic Mummy Queen gonna troll me. Yeah, I'm not gonna do the optimal strat here, where I try and stay inside. It's too risky. This health. It's a lot lower than I would like. So there's a bit of randomness with her, like, ghosts, but I'm on the wrong side. Should be fine though. There's bad RNG. More bad RNG.
But nothing we can't deal with.
I'm in trouble. I'm dead. I'm so lucky. Thank you for doing that. Please stop doing this. This is really not what you want to say.
Yes, it is. The people want to see this.
No, it's not, dude.
Okay, now you can blame that one on him. He's definitely goading the game on at this point.
All right,
Yeah,
GG.
I messed up a bit there, but
She's done. There's nothing that we have to worry
Commentator
about.
bullying.
I use my herb though. I'm gonna need that.
Oh, you're Mr. Freet. What are you talking about?
Now we get teleported to Dow to take one step up. To Babel.
Yep.
Final dungeon.
So, we only have 5 mystic statues, but your dad's like, oh, okay, just get here anyway. So we're off to Babel. Where we have an obligatory refight with all the bosses.
Yeah.
But we are now Shadow. And yeah, you might have missed it, but we'll see it when we start doing these fights. We have all the upgrades that we've missed up until this point after beating Mummy Queen, so we can take some hits again, finally.
After you fight her again, but she does like less than half damage, I think, compared to that fight, so I guess it just showed the progression.
Well, we're not thinking about Mummy Queen right now. We're letting Mummy Queen go.
No, I'm thinking about vampires though, because they actually work a little bit differently compared to the normal vampires.
Vampire 2.0 fight, they have detection hitboxes, or whatever you want to call it. You can't walk into them anymore, where you could for the new fight. So they're a little different. Now, one thing that we will see, maybe on the vampires, and maybe on Viper, something called the aura glitch. So if you attack, and before your attack finishes, you sink into the ground with aura, you'll do damage at full strength as quick as the game will allow you to an enemy, and as quick as their hitbox will allow them to get hit, until you come back up. So it's very, very powerful, and very useful to protect you while doing a ton of damage on like the Vampire 2.0 fight.
Same downside as slider, though, at the very end, you're left vulnerable and you're not moving. So if something did survive, which usually a boss will, you'll get damaged. So you do have to be careful with it, but it is extremely powerful. Alright, as long as I just got to make sure that I don't get lost in here. Do it the wrong way.
I can laugh at that, but like everybody does it at some point. When you
I have to say to myself, odd number boss fight, right, even, left. So that's how
all these hallways look the same. When you come out of the door, you don't remember if you need to go left or right, depending on what boss you just fought.
Hopefully I don't get trolled here.
Yeah, you're going to have two dying patterns. Go ahead.
There's one pattern I'm really not looking for. It's fine. So I'm slowing down my attacks a little bit there. If I was being as fast as I could with my attacks, I'd actually hit it. So deliberately just got to slow it down. But the most important thing is to not take damage in this and next fight, because I'm going to want my health for the vampires.
There's a lot of checkpoints in Babel, so if you die, you only get set back a certain amount, and you automatically transform into Shadow for every boss fight. So it's not the end of the world. And even if his HP is super, super low before the final boss, he'll just take a death warp right at the start of the fight to ensure that nothing scary happens further into the fight. So this is the Viper refight. He's going to attack a few times. Depending on how he wants to go about it, he will aura glitch or just... Yeah. So he was sinking down.
Aura glitch.
Yeah. We'll do the Vampire 2.0 fight coming up.
Easier than the first Vampires fight, a lot quicker as well, because we're going to be doing 3 damage instead of 1, but I have less mobility.
And they do hurt. Not like it's negligible damage.
They do hurt, yeah. I think it's the same amount of hits until... So... I don't have a herb right now, so... Hopefully I don't get bullied too much. I don't want the big attack immediately either, because it's awkward. Okay, that's good, because I get to hit her. Okay. I'm just gonna play that safe.
You see that aura glitch damage?
It's good enough. Definitely take that fight.
Yep, we would take that for sure. It can go way worse than that.
Way worse. Way, way worse. And we have to deal with the worm again. Not quite as bad RNG. Like, the range is nothing like the previous fight, but this can still cost you. This can be a really, really happy fight or a really, really sad fight.
Optimally, you get 2 eggs, and you can kill Sandfanger before the second egg cycle is done. And depending on your position, you can actually get 3 hits on a horizontal. But yeah, you don't want to see vertical cycles here. Vertical cycle. Maybe it is me.
Hey, it's that thing that I said we shouldn't see.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's just a long-standing thing for marathons in general. They just call the commentator curse. You can actually affect nothing, but they'll blame you for everything.
Oh, sure, sure. Yeah, Thanger 2.0 not really behaving right now. Lots of verticals.
I'm not getting the third one as well. It's randomness with that as well. I'm not getting it. Brutal. Okay. A lot of sadness if you're on PB pace and that happens. Very sad times.
But that's Babel. There's tons of RNG in Babel, and we've had to live through it.
And now we interact with Viper for some reason. I don't know why. Some of the bosses help us climb up the tower.
And this brings us to 2.0.
So hopefully I'm not gonna butcher the start of this, but I'm gonna do things a little bit differently in this fight. There's no bricks. Where I was standing right now, in the first fight, there was normally bricks. But they're not here. What I want to do is, I want to stay inside this, basically this circle of spirits for as long as I can, so that when she's ready to return to a normal phase, they come together as quickly as possible. Yeah. Less damage here compared to the first fight, so doing this is risky.
The only other bad thing that is not that much of an issue compared to the first fight is when you do this, it's possible that she gets lower and lower. But it's not seeming to happen right now, so this should be a nice first cycle for free. Just one more hit to get that going. Ah.
Much better second fight.
Yeah.
And I think I've got plenty of health for Dark Gaia, though I could definitely still die to the last boss here. So we got like a 2-minute cutscene now. We got to speak to our dad's corpse.
Spoiler alert. We're daddy.
Yeah, he's dead, but his spirit is in our flute. We spoke to him at the very beginning of the game in Edward's prison, but didn't actually know that he was not alive right up until this moment here.
Okay, GG, Freet. You made it all the way to the top of Babel. We're almost at the end. It's been a good run.
Only died to Mummy Queen. I'm still surprised that I used that herb and I died in the next turn.
I know. I want to go back and watch it to make sure the herb actually healed all the way up.
So yeah.
No.
We've got a few minutes with last boss coming up. Lasts about 3 minutes. Or 4, it depends on how nice the boss is. If Dark Gaia wanted, I could be doing this fight for the next 3 hours, but
yeah, so I can talk about Dark Gaia a little bit. It's 2 phases. You've got the comet phase where you're just kind of hitting the comet in the face and then trying to avoid the rings of destruction that fall down. And then once you do enough damage, Dark Gaia herself actually appears. She opens her mouth, and when she does, that's the only time you can damage her. But the caveat is, shortly after, she'll fire a very super powerful laser at you, which hurts a lot. And then in between that, she'll just be having these blue bubbles that form off the comet and kind of track around you and could hit you. But she also fires off homing yellow laser balls. And she'll always cast one. She'll always cast 4, I should say, in pairs. And then after that, there's a 25% chance, instead of opening her mouth, she'll just fire another attack at you. And it'll continue where the fight could go on for hours if she doesn't open her mouth. So best he can do is 3 cycles of damage to her. He can get up to 5 hits per cycle. If he gets a 5-5-4 or any kind of pattern like that, it'll be over. Otherwise, it'll be 4 cycle. So he combines with Kara, Descendants of the Light Knight, Dark Knight, and that unlocks Firebird. So you got the Phoenix and Soul Blazer. This being the second game of the trilogy, you have Firebird. But he's not going to stand behind Dark Gaia out of bounds and do damage or anything like that.
I wish. I think this fight's so... Actually, you'd still get bullied by the bubbles.
Yeah.
But it's still... So I'm just going to count 8 of those like acid raindrops, and out on the 8th one, I'm going to aura just so I don't have to dodge the last bunch. And ideally, I don't take damage here.
Also, amazing final boss music track right here.
So for the longest time, the second phase, whether you get the 3 cycle, was RNG, but I've come up with a couple of strats I'm going to try that makes it not RNG. But it's difficult. Oh, it's precise. It's not difficult, it's precise. So, see if I get it.
I've seen world-killing threats before, but I think this is the first time I've seen a final boss actually beat the world.
That'll work.
Alright, there's Dark Gaia.
Okay.
So after this first one, she could open her mouth. She does.
I whiffed it. Only got the 4 hits. So
4 pairs now. So that was 1 pair. Take a second pair. I know I'm a little off from you, Freedom. Sorry, I'm not going to mess with your counting.
I thought it was. I didn't do the trick. But it's okay. Let's just not die. It's a 4 cycle, so you really want to get 5 hits here. Optimally 5-5. So on the 3rd cycle, she dies on the 4th hit. But if you only get 4 on the first 2 cycles, you're only getting a 4 cycle, and it's 20 seconds. Oh, I'm not counting. Solo count.
Time now, please.
Okay, so usually I count here just to make sure. Right. Okay, now it's actually a little bit tense.
I promise you, people, he's doing this for show right now. He wants to get you on the edge of your seats. Oh no.
Oh,
That is a seat edge. Unfortunately, we've been the ones sat down.
But if you do die there, it's just a checkpoint right to start this over, so not the world-ending time loss that you might think it is.
Can I use my
Not
head?
a modern game. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
here,
you
have
don't
all your
have
HP back and your items, and we'll start you on phase 2.
Well, that's a really annoying thing with Gaia, is that all these enemies, they drop dark points, and once you collect 99, you get a life, basically. But that life, like, he just died, and it refilled his HP all the way up. If he had a life and dark points, and he died, he'd go back to, like, the beginning of a room if he was in a dungeon at half health. He wouldn't even be at full health. So, you're not, like,
It's like a worse life system?
Yeah.
If I had a life, I'd be in a
Getting
worse
extra
situation.
Mario is hilarious.
Alright. I'm gonna count. Very important to count if you're not.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Freed. I'm like a cycle off.
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. There we go. Got the 5 hits there. And 1. Okay. So everything in this fight is done in 5-second intervals. 3. Or hoping for the mouth open. Only got 4 hits. Okay. Yeah, not the most difficult fight, but you can get really unlucky with these bubbles at awkward times. 3. 4. Nice. Hopefully I get 5 hits. No. Okay. So yeah, annoyingly, if you don't get the 4 cycle, or you don't get the 3 cycle, you'll be like 1 hit away. It's much sadness, but when that happens, you have to go through another 4 of these. So that's 2. 3. Currently, the RNG's been perfect in this fight. 4, hopefully, time in 3, 2, 1, time.
GG!
Nice.
I can't believe I died at Gaia.
No, it was a great run for you.
It happens. It was a really good run, and I'm happy I got through the vamp. What was it, 103 or something with the vampires?
That was 103, yeah.
Yeah,
103.
super happy with that. No funny business from Angkor Wat, no funny business from Room 3 except the beginning, the pyramid, but overall I'm really happy with that. I guess, what was the time? I can actually look at that. Okay, 201.
With a scenic route put in for one of the trips, yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it would be
I died.
You take out the extra map visits.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was like a 1 minute thing. I forgot about that. Okay, yeah.
That was the scenic route.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, I just want to let the game get showcased. So I'm glad that you got it yet, because normally I'm like, don't let it get you down. Don't worry about it. We're all here to have fun.
I don't know if you can say. The last like 20 minutes, the temperature's like shot up, and I don't have my fan set up like I normally do. So the past 15 minutes, I don't even know I have. Got warm.
Yeah.
Got warm.
I gotcha. When I stream sometimes too, if I'm not like paying attention, it'll just get hot. Then I'll go like leave to refill my water, and I'm like, it's like 10 degrees cooler out here. What the fudge?
Well, thank you so much for having us. I hope you all enjoyed watching this run. Well done, Mr. Freak.
Thank you.
If you guys have any last minute things to say, feel free. And then I'll get us out of here, and you guys can go on with your day.
Thanks for having me on. I'll be on in the future at some point. Maybe the same thing, maybe something else. Who knows?
Ideally, yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No
take care, everybody. So
that will do it for showcase. We still have, as usual, a lot coming up. And when I was trying to book stuff this month, there was a lot of back and forth, and we ended up being pretty far booked out. So if you guys are interested in looking at our future show for the next few months, feel free to check it out on the website. But the next big show we actually have coming up is a Breath of Fire 2 task showcase with the author, Zujin. That will be, we'll basically be playing through the tasks and then talking about, the differences between the tasks, what it took to get there and all that kind of stuff. And then we'll have the next week off, most likely. Don't really have anything scheduled for that. I've got to let the tech team actually have a day. Just one. Got to put them back to work real quick, and let me see here. I think we have one with Sony Raz as the runner and as the dev, I believe. So if you guys are interested in CC2R, we will have our own channel. We definitely consider that it just hasn't been marathon yet. So I decided to give it a leg up. That would be that though. Thank you, DentedRazor, for showcasing the Soul Blazer OB category. Thank you for free and just like everybody in general. Maybe we'll have some Secret of Evermore at some point. That's something we push back and forth. And as usual, if you guys have anything you're interested in, please let me know. And